morning to one and all present. I am Keshali Pathak, lecturer at Parul Polytechnic Institute from Department IT. Today we are going to welcome Ms. Twinkle Parmar ma'am, who will share us with their views on testing and bugs of software testing. And she is the alumni of our college. She is from batch 2014, same from Parul Polytechnic Institute. So let us welcome ma'am. Ma'am, you can share your views on the testing, software testing, and the bugs which you are going to share us with us.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am Twinkle Parmar. I am a previous student of Parul Polytechnic Institute of 2014 batch. Um, I am working as a junior software tester at iTechnoSolve, and today I give a presentation on a software testing principles, severity of bugs, and software testing tools. I would like to thank to Keshali and my ID department HOD Zubin sir for giving me this opportunity to giving me this webinar. Uh, I am sharing my screen with you all, and I start my presentation. So, uh, software testing principles. Firstly, I would like to explain that what is software testing. Software testing is a method of to check that your software is meet the actual requirement of a client. Software testing is a method to check whether your software is meet to the actual requirement or not. Uh, the purpose of testing is to identify the errors, gaps, or missing requirement on your software. I will give you one example. As in software testing, firstly we to develop some software. Firstly, we have to gather the requirement from the client, and then we analyze the requirement. I have to create one software for the education sector, some school attendance system. So for the school attendance system requirement is that student login, registration, how can I take the student attendance, and there is a many more functionality which is client want. So firstly, I as per the client requirement, firstly we create the test cases, test scenarios, test plans according to that, and then we give it our requirement to the development team. So as per the requirement, development team start the sprint by sprint functional requirement development of our software. uh, there is a main three type of software testing, functional testing. In functional testing, you have to firstly test all the functional scenario of your software, your login functionality, registration, your software main functionality is properly working or not, or is there your software functionality is break somewhere or not. For login functionality, you have to test that your user is available to test with proper valid data or invalid data. User is able to log in into your system or not. In non-functional testing, you have to test the performance and security of your application or web application or websites, like your website performance, your website SEO ranking, your website's image, how much time your website take or to load a image, your website content responsiveness. Like responsiveness means your website is looking proper in any device, like a mobile device, tablet device. uh, Screen resolution is proper, like your website looking is same as any resolution of screen. uh, maintenance, and third one is maintenance testing. In maintenance testing, uh, like you can check regression testing, like you are doing some changes in some functionality or adding some functionality in your existing function, so it will affect to your existing system or not. So you have to test that your newly added functionality or system will not affect your system main functions, your system smoothly working or not. uh, like I would like to share 7 principles of software testing, so I can display one video for that.
Consider a scenario where you are moving a file from folder A to folder B. Think of all the possible ways you can test this. Pause the tutorial and think over the exercise. Apart from the usual scenarios, you can also test the following conditions. Trying to move the file when it is open. You do not have the security rights to paste the file in folder B. Folder B is on a shared drive and storage capacity is full. Folder B already has a file with the same name. In fact, the list is endless. Or suppose you have 15 input fields to test, each having 5 possible values. The number of combinations to be tested would be 5 raised to 15. If you were to test all the possible combinations, project execution time and costs will rise exponentially. Hence, one of the testing principles states that exhaustive
uh,
testing is not possible. Instead, we need the optimal amount of testing based on the risk assessment of the application. And the million-dollar question is, how do you determine this risk? To answer this, let's do an exercise. In your opinion, which operation is most likely to cause your operating system to fail? I'm sure most of you would have guessed opening 10 heavy graphics applications all at the same time. So if you were testing this operating system, you would realize that defects are likely to be found in a multitasking module, and that needs to be tested thoroughly. Which brings us to our next principle, defect clustering, which states that a small number of modules contain most of the defects detected. With experience, you can identify such risky modules. But this approach has its own problems. If the same tests are repeated over and over again, eventually the same test cases will no longer find new bugs. This is another principle of testing called pesticide paradox. To overcome this, the test cases need to be regularly reviewed and revised, adding new and different test cases to help find more defects. But even after all this sweat and hard work in testing, you can never claim your product is bug-free. To drive home this point, let's see this video of the public launch of Windows 98. Plug it in. It's going to say, hey, I see you put in a new device. And it's going to load in the appropriate drivers. You'll notice that this scanner built... think a company like Microsoft would have tested their OS thoroughly, would not risk their reputation just to see their OS crashing during its public launch. Hence, the testing principle states that testing shows the presence of defects. Testing reduces the probability of undiscovered defects remaining in the software. But even if no defects are found, it is not a proof of correctness or a proof that no defects remain in the system. But what if you work extra hard, taking all precaution and making sure your software product is 99% bug-free and the software does not meet the needs and requirements of the client? Which leads us to our next principle, which states that absence of error is a fallacy. Finding and fixing defects does not help if the system build is unusable and does not fulfill the user's needs and requirements. To fix this problem, the next principle of testing, early testing, states that testing should start as early as possible in the software development lifecycle, so that any defects in the requirements or design phase are captured as well. We'll have more on this principle in a later tutorial. And the last principle of testing states that the testing is context dependent, which basically means that the way you test an e-commerce site will be different from the way you test a commercial off-the-shelf application. Before we close this tutorial, here's a quick recap of the 7 testing principles.
Like in video, we all show that the 7 principles of software testing. Like exhaustive testing is not possible. Like there is no surety of the 100% your software is bug free or error free, or all possible combination of testing is you are doing in a one scenario, like your software is not 100% surety key, your software is error or bug free. In exhaustive testing is not possible in that. Like if you are testing that you missed something in your testing, or your software is not matched with the client requirement, or there is you have some functionality which is not working as client expectations, or your application performance is not that much good as client expectations or end user expectations. Or next one is early testing. Like when your software development is started, as much as early possible, you can start testing. It is easy for you to find more bugs. Like there in software development life cycle, parallelly with development, you have to test your software small modules or functionality. So at the last, you can not find many big issues. Easily you can solve your bugs in early testing. Like with the parallel development, you can test, so you can find more bugs, or if is there any functionality missing, or if there is any function which is not done as per the client requirement, so you can change it. Defect clustering. In defect clustering, like you have to make a structure of your bugs, like structure of your bug, like similar kind of bugs are coming from every functionality, or similar kind of issue you face to in development or testing, so you can give it back to the development team, or you can early solve your bugs available. And next one is pesticide paradox. In these techniques, you can not follow every time same testing techniques. Like you cannot apply same method every time to test your software. You cannot apply same method, same techniques. You cannot test same functions scenario apply. Like in your software. You have to apply a different type of scenarios, different types of functions on your testings. You can apply a random test scenarios as per the client requirement or as per the thinking of end users. You can apply a random scenarios on your software, so you can easily crack your software or find a more bug, or you can easily sure about your system, like your system is bug free or your system is has possible as many as bug you can find in paradox. Like you can apply a different testing methods like monkey testing, smoke testing, so you can find a different kind of errors in that. Testing content context is depend. Like in testing context, like you have to follow your test case and you can execute your test cases, so you can easily identify that the where is error occurs or what kind of errors, and usually you can track your error bug in your system, and you can give it to the development team and generating a bug report, and your development team resolve that bug and give it back to you. You can again test that and make sure that your bug is resolved properly or not, or if your bug is not resolved, then you can reopen it and give it back to the development team to resolve it again proper. Sometimes like you are unable to understand some functionality or features, so you can report it as a bug, but it is not a bug, so development team refuse that it is not a bug. So you have to make sure that you have the 100% knowledge of your system or functionality. And next one is absence of a error policy. Like your software, after the applying so many software methods, testing rounds, you cannot sure that your software is 100% bug free. So there is a 99% or 98%. There is your software is have some bugs or error. So absence of error policy is not possible. You cannot give 100% to your client, and sometimes your client refuse that this functionality is not I given as per my expectation, it's not working, or end user facing issues to use your applications. So make sure that your software is error free, your software is easy to use, user can easily navigate on your screens, pages, your all links are properly working or not. Your software is like easy to use for everyone, like a non-technical person, the person who has zero knowledge of about your system, he can also easily use your system. So it is more to you that your software is easily used and understandable, bugs free. Now I am going to explain you severity of bugs. Like there is many type of severities of bugs, like the critical, major, medium, low. Critical severity means your main functionality of software is not working. For example, I will talk about logging functionality. If user is unable to log in into your system, so without login, user is unable to move to the next screen, like as example home screen. So if your login functionality is not working, so it is a blocker for you and it is a critical issue. So you cannot moving or using any other functionality of your system. So it is a critical severity or blocker bug for you. In the major functionality severity, in major severity, like some your functional function is not working, like you can that is you are unable to display a home screen proper, some function of your home screen like touch is not proper, you cannot easily able to scroll your screen, your profile picture is not display proper in your screen. That kind of issues like a major issue, like that will display that this kind of issue is major in your system. User mainly focus on that your system is looking good, all the functionalities working smoothly properly, user can easily navigate in one screen to another screen easily, user can display his or her profile is in easy way, user can access each functionality is in easy way, is able to do anything easy as per his requirements. So major in major function severity you can check that all things are working fine or not. In a medium severity, like there is an UI issues, like your screen are not properly designed, mismatch with your theme, some buttons are not according to your themes, profile image is too display too small. That kind of bugs are coming into the medium severity. And in at the last low severity, like there is an error, some error which is not affect to your main function. That kind of error coming into the low severity, like your button color is not matter to your functionality, so you can change it after the any time you can change that kind of function. So that kind of error you can solve any time into your system. So that kind of bugs in coming to in the low scenarios, and user cannot easily identify that kind of bug come into at the last in a low scenarios. uh, Priority types, there is a priority of your project, like if is there in a bug in your main functionality, or your main function is not working, or like your main client required that main function not match with the client requirement. That kind of bugs are coming into the high level priority. You have to firstly solve that high priority bugs. You make sure that the main functionality of your software is working. If is there any bug coming to your main functionality, so you give that bug to the high priority, like that bug is work in high priority to solve that. In a medium level, that some responsive issues that kind of bugs coming into the medium level of. And low priority, like there is something change in designing, button color, the text box change, style changing, that kind of issues coming into the low priority. You can change it after the production or any time if you need it. That kind of that kind of bugs are coming to the low priorities. I would like to introduce some bug reporting tools to you, or bugs tracking tool. Like there is available tools Bugzilla, Bughead, the Bugs Union, Jira, Trello, Bughost. These are the bug tracking reporting tools which is available for you to track your whole project, to track your project sprint, reporting of your bug, to manage your project whole board, task, your daily task, which all are coming you can manage by using the softwares Jira, Trello, or bug tracking tools. I will give you the format of bug tracking. What is needed to reporting a bug? So, if you are reporting your bug, then first you have to write a bug ID of your bug. Like I give TEC001 to my bug ID, and if facing some issue in the login functionality, so I give a title of bug that login functionality is not working. Bug ID is TC001. In description, I can write the bug steps, uh, like what kind of issue I'm facing in login, like I enter valid password but still I am unable to log in system. I enter valid login ID but I am unable to log in with, or like I'm unable to log in with the Google, or I'm unable to log in with Facebook link, or unable to log in with Twitter link. That kind of issue I face in login. So you can explain it in the description part what kind of issue you are facing during your login functionality. And in next is environment. In your environment section, you can give the environment, like you can facing this bug at the development time or at the staging, in your staging environment, or at your live environment. The login function issue where you are facing at the development time, at your stage link, or at your live link. You have to mention that in your environment, so developer can easily check that where the actual issues occur. In the console logs, you can write a console error, so developer time is not more wasted. Developer easily read that logs and understand what kind of issue is that, what kind of error is that, so developer can easily handle or solve that bug. Your console logs you can check from the inspect mode of your browser. You can easily source URL. I am talking about source URL. So you can give your testing link where you are testing, which URL you are using during your testing time. So that is the source URL is there, like some link of your software or your website or your applications which you are using during your testing. Like if I am testing the login functionality of Facebook, so I can give a link of login screen or login page to in my bug reporting, so developer can easily using that link and find the where actual issues occur on this page or this link, this screen. He can easily identify. And in visual proof, like you can add videos of your bug, what kind of issue you are facing during login. You can create a video about that. You can give a image or screenshot of your bug, so easily developer can understand what actual issue you can facing, and he can easily solve that bug. And there is an expected result and actual result. So expected result is my, in the login functionality, my expected result is that if I enter a proper input data, proper email ID or a password, then I am able to log in into this system and navigate to my home screen. It is my actual result. And expected result, like you are unable to log in with your valid email ID. So that is your, when you are testing that, at time your actual result is come that you are unable to log in with email ID. Or there is a more scenario if you are unable to log in, like there is a missing of some links, there is a validation missing. So that kind of many features are there that you are unable to log in with. Uh, uh, I'm going to explain some methods of testing, like alpha testing and beta testing. Alpha testing means there is in alpha testing there is you can perform a acceptance testing, performance testing, and alpha testing is performed before you are releasing your software. Testing team will test whole the functionalities of your system, like each and every functionality is performing well as per the client requirement before releasing the software. Testing team can test applying of many methods, many scenarios, different environment, using different device, using different resolution screens, or different modes like a night mode and a normal mode. Tester can test in all the possible way, so they don't face any issue after live. They can test that. And another one is beta testing. In beta testing, you can allow limited real user to test your system or applications. Like there is a beta function is available in Play Store, or you can give your system or your software to this limited user, like 10 to 5 or 15 users, so they can use and give us a review and feedback about your software. Your software is working fine, as per it will easy for user to use, or user facing some difficulty to using that, or user can give some feedback as per his or her experience to us in comment, so we can improve our software quality, and in next release we can improve that point and give a best quality, maintain a best quality of our software. And like we can check the performance of our system, like at the single time more than 100 people log in into your system is working fine, your system is able to heavily load your maintain a heavy load of your system or not. Many kind of uh, points that you can give in feedback, or your real user can give you that some suggestions, so you can improve the quality of your software. Software testing is necessary for to improve the quality of your software, to reduce the cost of your software and maintain your software in a well manner. Like you are available to maintain your software in a well manner. Your client is happy with you, that you can give him a satisfaction that he's able to use software easily. Software is as per his requirement, and he is a happy. Sometimes it's not possible that your client is happy with you. that he giving some requirements, but your team cannot understand that actual requirement is that. So sometimes it's happened that the unhappy scenarios that is occur. Your client is not happy with you. Your software is not as per the client requirement. So you have to change your requirements. You have to again follow all the development life cycle, software testing life cycle, and then after all the possible testing all the possible test scenario, and again the checking all the available data and apply the testing methods, test scenarios, executing the test plan. You can test that your software is working fine, or your client is happy with your requirement or not. And sometimes it's happened you cannot facing some issues in your staging environment, but when you were going to lab, you're facing some kind of issues just because mismatch of code, mismatch of some URL are missing, some image links are not there. So in lab you can facing some issues. At that time you can improve, immediately inform your development team and reporting issues to your development team, and possible to trying to resolve that issue as much as possible as quick, so your team can easily solve that issue. And in a lab you can user can easily use your system and you are not facing any issue. If you are Once you create your test cases, you have to review with your seniors or your colleagues or your BA of your team, so they can give us a suggestions. They can find some issues that missed by the testing team, or in testing. Okay, so I am going to explain you the process of testing life cycle. Like with your development team, firstly, clients give his requirement to the BA. BA analyzed all the requirement. Uh, like in software testing life cycle, uh, you can gather the requirement from client. You have a meeting with the client. Client give his requirement to you. Then you and your test team manager, your BA analysis manager of development team, they are sit together and discuss the requirement, and as according to requirement they can analyze and finalize the requirement, and they create a flow of the system. And after creating a flow, with the parallel development of your system is start, and then with the parallel development, testing team test that small modules and small function of system. So at the last, you don't have to face the big issue of system, or like big functionality is not working, that kind of issue. And after testing team report the bug immediately, and development team parallel solve that bug and give it back to the testing team to test that again. So your 100% sure that your software is a bug free or there is a no major issue during, you can complete your whole system, and at the end you can test your whole system. At that time you don't face so many issues. Your software has the minor issues. There is no major or a critical blocker come during your system whole testing. And after completion of full development of software, development team give your software to the testing team. Testing team test all the possible scenarios, execute test cases, execute test script, and apply the automation method or a manual method, and test the software and make sure that your software is 99% bug free, or your system is available to deliver. After the testing stage, testing team close test this test closure, and then they are ready, and we are ready for to go alive. Then we move our software further on a live development. Here I can display how to write a test case to you.
Consider a test scenario to check.
How many? How many?
Login functionality. There are many possible variations to check this scenario. Check response on entering a valid agent name and password. Check response on entering an invalid agent name and password. Check response when the agent name is empty and the login button is pressed. And many more. This is nothing but a test case. Test scenarios are rather vague and cover a wide range of possibilities. Testing is all about being very specific, hence we need test cases. Now just consider the test case, check response on entering a valid agent name and password. It's obvious that this test case needs input values, agent name, and password. This is nothing but test data. Identifying test data can be time consuming and may sometimes require creating test data afresh. For that reason, it needs to be documented. Before we proceed, consider a quote from a witty man: to ensure perfect aim, shoot first and call whenever you hit the target. But if you do not live by this philosophy, which I am sure most of you do not, then your test case must have an expected result. For our test case, the expected result would be login should be successful. If expected results are not documented, you may miss out on small differences in calculations and results, which otherwise look okay. Consider this example, where you are calculating monthly pay for an employee. If you do not live by this calculations, which documented expected results becomes obvious. Suppose the author of the test case has left the organization, is on vacation, is sick and off duty, or is just very busy with other critical tasks, and you are recently hired and have been asked to execute the test case. Since you are new, it would certainly help to have test steps documented, which in this case would be launch the application, enter an agent name, enter a password, and click OK. You may think that for these test steps, documentation is not required. But what if your test steps look something like this? I think the need will become immediately obvious. Then part of your test case may have fields like a precondition, which specifies things which must be in place before the test can run. For our test case, a precondition would be flight reservation application should be installed. Also, your test case may include a post condition, which specifies anything that applies after the test case completes. For our test case, a post condition would be time and date of login is stored in the database. During test case execution, you will document the results observed in the actual results column, and may even attach a subscription